when people dream of old Indians. Yeah, I always get these kind of. I kind of talked about this last week, when people I get a lot of emails like this, and it all follows the same pattern. It's something like this. The person will say, "Yes, I dreamt of." Or first of all, they'll say, um, "I'm going to tell you something, and you can maybe you think I'm crazy, maybe I am crazy, and you can choose to respond to me or not. If you think I'm just a crazy person, I will understand." They say, and so then they'll say, "Yeah, I just as I was getting ready to wake up from sleeping, said I dreamt about this old man, an Indian man, and he said to me these words," and then they spell something out, and then he pointed at me. And he'll say, something like, and it's all of a sudden, I have this strong urge to go to the Black Hills of South Dakota. And he said, "I don't know anything about Indians. The topic of Indians has never been in my mind until I had this dream." So it always follows this pattern. And I want to talk about that, okay? And it seems to be a phenomenon. And but just because something is a phenomenon doesn't mean it's good. So I'm going to examine that from the Lakota Star Knowledge point of view. Yeah. Well, actually, I get this quite a lot, but within the past couple of weeks, it seems to have been happening big time. I mean, I've been getting a lot of these emails, so that's why I decided, hey, that could make a good topic to address. So let's do that. Yeah. These emails always follow a certain format. I mean, ever since I've been on the internet, and people have been able to find my website, I've always received this certain type of email, and sometimes it's I think it's a projection of well, I shouldn't say I think, because I know. I'm trying to soften the blow here, but I don't think I really can soften the blow. I'm going to explain a couple of things, but first of all, let me say my statement. My statement is that sometimes our dreams are reflections of I shouldn't say reflection, projections of something inside of us, whether it's a concern, something we're worried about, a fear. A lot of times that's going to appear in a dream as a person, and that's the mind for you. Yeah, that's how the mind is. So this is how that works. Yeah, that dreams can have all kinds of qualities. Sometimes it can show you something from your sacred center. It might give you a message. Sometimes it's a warning. Sometimes it's just telling you, look, this is what's coming up. Yeah? This is what's going to happen next. Or sometimes it might show you a place, and you don't think anything of it at all. You just You just walk around this place, and it's dream, yeah. A lot of times we don't realize that we're in a dream, so we just go along with it, and sometimes it doesn't make sense. And then later on in life, you go someplace, and it just feels familiar. It's because you've already been there, but in the dream. Yeah, and all this is coming from the sacred center inside of you. When you look at dreams, you have to look at the mind, and the mind has. And remember, please remember, I'm always talking from the Lakota Star Knowledge perspective. Okay, I'm not talking about psychological or scientific or philosophic, whatever. This is from Lakota Star Knowledge, and that it teaches that the mind has 4 parts. There's one part is right now, yeah, what you're experiencing. Some people would say this is the conscious. Let's call that level 1. Okay? And then when you go to sleep, you're in level 2 or 3. Yeah? That's when in your asleep world, in level 2 or 3. Level 4 is a sacred area. This is where your sacred center is. This is where a part of the Mother Earth is. There's other sacred things in that area too. And it's where you begin. Yeah? That's where your reality begins. So, in this level 2 and 3 area, there's passageways that go into other realms. And you always have to remember that there is no such thing as perfection. There never was. There never was such a thing as perfection. Perfection. It's an extremist point of view. Okay? And there's no such thing as chaos either. Yeah, that's another extremist point of view. No, it's absolutely not this way. What it is that you make choices, and you're based on those choices, you're presented with consequences in which you have to now do something with them. And sometimes you're faced with something totally out of the blue. And it's your responsibility still to make something out of that. So in other words, life is just what we make out of it. Okay? So, if there was perfection, this would be impossible. Let me put it like that. Okay? So, it's not about perfection. It's about you're presented with information, and then you take that information and do something with it. You're always doing that. All over the universe, in all universes, this is happening. Okay? So in other words, they're always forming, they're always developing, they're always progressing, they're always evolving. There's no goal. It's just living. Okay? It's just doing something and continuing like that. That's what it's about. That's why some cultures say it's the journey that's important. This is what that means. It's the same thing. So in all universes, there is healthy and unhealthy. No matter what level of intelligence there is, anywhere in any universe, there's always going to be healthy and unhealthy. There's always going to be something and a container for that something. That's how it is. Okay, so you have to keep that concept in mind. So, in these realms that level 2 and level 3 of your mind can lead to. Sometimes that leads to someplace unhealthy. And I think people misunderstood that. Dualistic thinking people misunderstood that to mean hell. But it's not. Yeah, it's just an unhealthy area. And sometimes there's areas that are healthy. And sometimes the unhealthy ones are very deceptive. And they can appear to be healthy. And if you're not on your toes, you could be tricked by that. You could be fooled by that. So you have to be careful whenever you're getting a dream that you think is special. You have to keep all this information in mind. That is it coming from? Could it be? Is it coming from a healthy area or an unhealthy area that's trying to deceive me? Yeah, that sometimes you have to think about that. Another thought is that is it a projection of something I'm concerned about? Is it a manifestation of a fear or a worry or a concern or what? Is it an answer? Is it a manifestation of the answer to something, a solution? You have to think of all these things. And you can't take it too literal. Yeah? You cannot take things too literal. You have to take time to think about it. So the best thing to do is when you wake up and you think, you should keep write it down right away, whatever you remember. And throughout the day, if it's you might remember more. So write that right away, so you don't forget. And then just put it away for now, because a little while later, more information might come to you to explain what it is. Yeah, so that's why it's a good idea to write it down. And the other possibility is it could be nothing. It might be just entertainment. Yeah, and so it that's also possible, because it's the mind that's involved here, and the mind is incredibly complex. It can like I said, it can take a concern and manifest that concern as a person inside one of your dreams. So you're talking to this person in your dream. Yeah? And the person maybe is talking back with you. And as in the dream it makes total sense. But when you wake up it doesn't. Yeah? So yeah, but just keep it in mind. It might come to you later, yeah, the full meaning. It's interesting how dreams are like that. Like sometimes people will have dreams that they're riding some kind of vehicle, yeah, and that they're even to be in that vehicle, they're laying down in a weird position, and that when they move this way, move that way, it goes faster, it goes slower, it turns left, it turns right, depending on how how you're moving your body, yeah, and then it's so cool, yeah, and then you come to a stop sign or end of the track or something like that, and then you get up. You stand up to pick up your thing, whatever that vehicle is, and you look at it, and it's just a stupid-looking piece of crap, yeah. and then, but in the dream, you don't think that, yeah. You don't think that at all. You just say, okay, this is my machine. So you go find another track, you put it down, you try to make it work again, and it doesn't want to work. And a few minutes later, you're waking up. It's just all this was telling you you're about to wake up. Yeah, the stop sign. Yeah, it's telling you you're waking up, and trying to make it work and it don't work. It's telling you it's time to wake up. Yeah, and then you sit up in your bed or wherever it is you're sleeping. You sit up and think about it, And you look at that and you're like, shit, that was just it was just a skateboard with a couple of poles on there, and it makes you laugh. It's just a piece of crap, but in the dream it made sense. Do you know what I mean? You have to keep those things in mind, that sometimes in dreams things will really, really, really make sense, but as soon as you wake up, it doesn't make any sense at all. That's the mind. Yeah, that's entertainment. And this is how that is. And another time, I'll tell you one of mine. I had a dream where I was in this valley, and there's mountains all around, all around me. Yeah, and it's very similar to Switzerland. But it was dark time. But it didn't. It even though it was dark, somehow it didn't seem like nighttime. Do you know what I mean? It didn't seem like nighttime at all, but it was dark, like it was nighttime. And I was in this house and walking around. First of all, it looked like the house I grew up in, and it looked like other houses that I have been in as well. And like all these different houses rearranged themselves into one house. Yeah. And so I heard somebody. I could hear high heels walking on the level up, and so I went upstairs, and I couldn't find the person, but I was looking out into this valley. The house was on a hill. Yeah, not on there was mountains, but it was on a kind of like a foothill of a mountain. And so I was looking, just examining the view. You know, it was like a kind of like a big town, and there were no lights. There were no people. It seemed if there were people, they were asleep. This is your mind working, my mind, yeah. So I just didn't think anything of it, because when you're in a dream, a lot of times that's how it is. You don't think anything of it. And so I was standing there on this terrace, or terrace, as some people say, and I was looking out, and then I heard this lady's voice say, "Oh, there you are." I turned around, and here it was my good friend Nicola. She's a German lady, and she said, "There you are," and she said, "Shall we check it out?" So I said, "Okay," and she jumped on my back and put her arms around my neck, and then I jumped into the air, and we started floating. Yeah. And we were just floating around, yeah, just floating through the air like that. And I said, "Did you look at these things? They're just in the air, yeah. They're just there." I saw a tricycle. I saw a wagon, you know, the kind of wagon that little kids have, the little red wagon kind of thing. Saw some baby shoes. What else did I see? Just like a car tire. You know, just odd things here and there, just in the sky. They're just still. They weren't even like floating, you know, because they were just there in the sky, and it was so weird. And I was like, "Huh, this is so strange." And it just seemed like, let's go that way, and with your mind just pushes your body in that direction, and you're going there, and you're way in the hell up in the sky, but you look down, you don't even get dizzy. In real life, I probably would faint. Yeah, and it just was nuts. Just didn't even make sense. See, that's sometimes dreams are like that. They just don't make sense. Maybe that does. Maybe later I will think, "Oh, my childhood." Okay, something about my childhood. Yeah, or it could be anything. You know, I don't know. Maybe this is something of Nicola's dream. I don't know. Maybe we dream shared. I don't know. Because sometimes that happens too, where you and somebody will get the same dream and both be in it at the same time. That is also possible. Yeah. So this is just showing you, yeah. And then sometimes when you can be in a dream, you know, and you're traveling, you're going from town to town or whatever, and sometimes you come to you're on the road. Again, you're in a weird vehicle, yeah. You're on the road, and then you come to the road just suddenly is not there anymore. Just like choppy, you know what I mean? Like somebody just chopped it off and took that piece of highway away, but you still see the ground underneath. Yeah. Then you look up ahead, there it's starting again. Yeah. So you pick up your car with your hand, walk over there, put it back down that road, get in there and take off again. It doesn't even make sense. Yeah? You're picking up your car with your hand. 2,000-pound car. Do you see what I mean? It doesn't even make sense, and everybody's doing that. They pick up their cars and walk through this area, and then they put it back down the other. Everybody's doing that, and it's just like it's just nobody thinks anything of it in that dream, and you don't either. Yeah, you just say, oh, there's a break in the road. Okay, pick up your car and walk over there. It doesn't dawn on you until you wake up and you say, shit, that didn't even make sense. Yeah? Or sometimes you're in a town and you go, you're going outside of town and suddenly the highway is gone. It's just chipped off and there's nothing but wilderness over there. Yeah, maybe there's a river there, or whatever. There's just nothing, just but nature. Nothing but nature. See, this is an evidence that your mind created this, and when you see something like that, that means you are waking up, because you're not doing any more creating because you're about ready to wake up. That's why it appears like that. Yeah. So this is just some ideas to get to show you what's at work. Yeah. What's happening? What kind of what kind of things are happening concerning the mind, and shows you that it can do all kinds of wonderful things. It can be really creative. And this is how. And what's another thing that's really funny too is when you go to sleep in the dream. That's hilarious, I think. Yeah. Oh my. So, like I said, lots of times these things are going to appear as a concern, something you're worried about, and it may try to get your attention. That it's saying, "Hey, you need to. It's yourself, yeah. It's yourself that is trying to get your conscious self attention. I mean, your conscious self's attention that something is wrong." And so it's going to, what it might do is it might make that concern appear as a person that is totally out of the blue for you, that you have no idea concerning this. You have no background information concerning this kind of thing. So it makes you stop in the dream, and you look at it and you're just like, wow, what is this? And you wake up and that image stays with you. Yeah, and most likely what this is that it's you. And it's not a past life. No. It's your mind that was trying to get your attention by putting you into a certain environment in the dream, and then appearing as something that is totally foreign to that environment, so that it grabs your attention and it's trying to say something, and it's not the message that's important. In most cases, it's not that message. In most cases, what it's trying to do is it's trying to say you need to examine yourself in your life. What is your situation right now? Yeah, what, like for me, I'm moving between apartments. Let's say I were to receive a dream like this, in which let's see, what would be totally foreign to me. What am I not? What do I have absolutely no knowledge of? I have to think of a culture I have absolutely no knowledge of, because I know a little bit of this and a little bit of that. I have to think of a group of people that I have absolutely no clue what they're about, whether it's a stereotype or genuine information. It has to be something I have totally no idea about, not even a stereotype. Yeah. And so let me think. What culture do I have no clue about? Huh. Shit, I really have to think, because I have friends all over the world, and so I'm exposed to a lot of cultures. So I have to think of something that I don't even know anything about. Huh. What culture do I don't know anything about? I'm not trying to brag here. I just can't think. Yeah. Aliens. There you go. Let's just go with aliens. Yeah. So, let's say I'm at a powwow in the dream. Yeah. And people are dancing, but yet there's one dancer out there that's really not dancing like a normal powwow dancer. And so I look, it caught my attention, so I'm watching that. Yeah. And other people, maybe they don't really see it. Yeah, maybe because nobody's going, oh my God, what is that? Nobody's doing that. So this right now, what this could mean at this point is that the other people in the dream are actually other thoughts of mine. They're not people at all. They're just thoughts, random thoughts. Okay, and that they're just appearing as the background. They're a part of the background, so they're thoughts regarding what the powwow is. So those thoughts appear as the dancers, as the singers, as people in the audience. And since they're a part of me, they're not taking any concern over this unusual dancer out there. So let's say I go follow that dancer, and I get close and I realize, geez, the beadwork doesn't even make sense. And when he turns and looks at me, I'm like, what the hell is this? It doesn't even look like a person. Yeah? And I'm standing there and I'm like, and maybe there's I don't know, maybe there's a machine or something that it has, or maybe it is a machine, but it has my attention. Yeah? So I'm standing there and I'm looking at that, and I'm like, this doesn't even make sense. I don't even know if this is a person. So I'm just watching it, yeah? And then maybe it looks at it looks at me for a while, and it turns and it goes back into the dance arena again, and it's starting, it dances some more. And so I'm just watching that. And it's dancing really weird. It's not even typical powwow moves. The regalia doesn't make sense, and so it has my attention. Then I wake up. So then I should be thinking at this point, okay, what's going on in my life right now? Yeah, and where is it heading? Yeah, based on what I'm going through in my life right now, where is this taking me? Yeah, so in my situation right now, most of my stuff is sitting in boxes. Most of my furniture is empty. Um, I'm selling most of my furniture on eBay. Some of the auctions are going to be done tomorrow. So this weekend there'll probably be people coming here to pick up cabinets, and I have to sign a contract pretty soon for renting that apartment, and these are all concerns of mine. This is all really on my mind. So I have to think to myself, am I overlooking something? Yeah, is there something that has nothing to do with this move that I'm not that I should be aware of? Do you see what I mean? They could mean something like that. But what most people do is they'll say, okay, I dreamt about an alien, so that must mean that I have an alien implant in my head someplace. They're gonna really take it too literal. Do you see what I mean? So sometimes I should say most of the times it's something like that. It's telling you, it's yourself. It's your, you could use the word subconscious. It's your subconscious self trying to tell your conscious self, you got to be aware of something, and you're missing something, or you're overlooking something, or maybe you got to pay attention to something in your life because something is about to happen. And if you don't, it might take you by surprise, and it's not going to be a good surprise. Do you see what I mean? It knows information based on your current thought patterns. My current thought patterns are focused on this move that I'm about to do. And so this dream is telling me that I need to make sure that I think of other things too that are important in my life, and to take that into consideration too. Because if I don't, I might be hurting something or someone, or maybe something is going to hurt me or whatever. Do you see what I mean? You have to take time to think about it because it's symbolical. Yeah? A lot of times dreams are that way. So, if I didn't know about this, I might come up with a translation that, okay, there's this alien is on the earth and he's trying to contact me, and he has a message for me and I bet you anything that this message has to do with world peace. Yeah, you see what I'm saying? I'm really building it up here, and I'm doing this based on my personality. If I were to think like that, most likely I'm a narcissist. If I have that kind of a interpretation of that dream, most likely I'm a narcissist because I'm saying in an indirect way, I'm a savior to the world. Do you see what I mean? So when somebody writes to me and says, yeah, an old Indian appeared to me, and I don't know anything about Indians, I never even thought about Indians, I didn't even know they existed, and all of a sudden, I'm waking up from this dream, and this old Indian man appears to me, and he says this word to me, uchi, buchi, muchi, ruchi, and after I heard that word, suddenly I have this urge to go to the Black Hills and And can you tell me what that means in Lakota? They'll say. And as they want to be validated. And so to me, this is saying as the inferiority complex here, as most likely a narcissist, because he wants me to say, oh, that's an ancient soul. He's choosing you to be a medicine man. Yeah, and that you must learn the Lakota language and then move to the Black Hills. No, that's not what it means. No, 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 no. Because for one thing, in the Lakota language, there's no R sound. Yeah, there is no R sound. And sometimes people will, maybe they've seen a movie. Maybe they've seen Dances with Wolves or something, and they write something down phonetically, and then they try to say in their dream this old Indian said these words, and it can get silly, yeah, because because usually I know where it's coming from, and most of the times it's nonsense and it's not true. First of all, when you're looking at Lakota beliefs, you have to look at it through the Lakota perspective and not your own. So why would an ancient Lakota soul choose a non-Lakota? Yeah? That means that there are no Lakota people today that are worthy, yeah, of this ancient thing? Does that mean all Lakota people are stupid? So that this old ancient soul had to contact a non-Lakota soul, a guy. Do you see what I mean? That again is that's showing narcissism. He took it too literal. Yeah. The one possibility is that this being is telling this guy, you have a disease. That's one interpretation. Yeah, that is telling that person you have a disease, and if you don't check yourself out physically with a doctor, you're gonna die. That's one possibility. It's trying to. It's himself. It's that old Indian that he saw. That's not a soul. That's a projection of his own self to get his conscious self attention, to get the attention of his conscious self. That's the subconscious self trying to get the attention of the conscious self to say, you need to look at your life. There's something that's going to go wrong. It's already started, and you need to look at it as soon as possible before it gets any worse. That's most of the time, that is the interpretation of that kind of dream. Yeah. So this is it's a warning. Yeah. It's trying to get the person's attention by appearing as something totally foreign to that person. So it's not the object itself; it's the message. What is this trying to say? Yeah, what is it referring to? So you don't have even if sounds come out of this being, that's not the important thing. The important thing is that it's telling you to take a look at your life. Yeah, it's telling you to say, hey, there's something wrong. You need to, you need to get something checked out. So it's a tricky thing, yeah. But in most cases, this is the situation, And the other thing is that in the Lakota, you remember what I said? When you're looking at these things, you have to look at it through the Lakota perspective. And in the Lakota perspective, the soul has no shape. It has no form, and it has no voice. And it has no emotions. The emotion and the voice belong to the body. The mind creates the personality. So when the body dies, the personality is dead too. So then what is the soul? It doesn't have a shape. Yeah, it's an energy. And that energy contains the development of all of past lifetimes. Yeah, so this is and it's not about memories. No, it can form the memories, but it's not about that. It's about the development of that soul. Okay? So for a person to say, yeah, an old Indian spirit appeared in front of me and said, uchi muchi ruchi, yeah? Uh, this is this violates Lakota star knowledge concepts of what is the soul. So when a person says that, yeah, an Indian soul tried to appear in front of me, he's looking at our culture through his culture's eyes. That, my friends, is called ethnocentrism. And that comes from duality. And that leads to personality disorder, which is a mental illness. And also an emotional illness, too. Hence, examine your life. You see? So you have to, if you think it's from our culture, then you have to know what our cultural beliefs are concerning that. Because, like I said, usually most of these people will say that, they'll say things that totally violate Lakota concepts of what is the soul, what is the soul journey, things like that. They have no clue about that. So when I tell them what I just told you, that totally, they're like, they don't know what to say after that, because they had expectations. They wanted me to say that they are supposed to be shamans. This is how their bullshit shamanic journey begins. Yeah? And so they're looking for any Lakota to validate them. I think part of school or somewhere in our lives, I think we all should receive instruction concerning our dreams, because it's a huge part of our life. Remember, reality begins within, so dreams is part of that. So that's why I think we need to pay attention to that. And I know that this might hurt some people, but I have to stand by what I just said, because this is based on Lakota star knowledge.